Grab a cup of coffee and start your Sunday with Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life features stories to inspire, motivate, and empower you. Live your best life now. Listen, learn, think, and decide. Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. Every Sunday morning at 9 on the Talk of New York, AM 970, The Apple. Visit cyacyl.com.
Good morning, this is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in. Imagine having a powerful connection between your physical body and your soul that allows you to do just about anything. Shaman healer Brant Secunda and world champion triathlete Mark Allen are here to tell us how to create an approach to lasting physical, mental, and spiritual fitness and vibrant emotional health. Brant Secunda is a shaman healer and ceremonial leader. Alongside dignitaries including President Jimmy Carter, Brant co-founded the Peace University in Berlin. He is a founding member of the American Herbalist Guild and he lectures at conferences and universities worldwide. Brant's work has been documented on television, radio, and in articles and books throughout the United States, Europe, and Japan. Mark Allen is a 6-time Ironman world champion. He has been called the world's fittest man by Outside Magazine and the greatest triathlete of all time by Triathlete Magazine. Mark has been featured numerous times on major network television and in national publications. He has appeared on more than 100 popular covers worldwide. Since leaving the sport after a successful 15-year career, while still at the top of his game, Mark has worked as a sports commentator and advisor for NBC. Brant and Mark are the co-authors of the book, Fit Soul, Fit Body, 9 Keys to a Healthier, Happier You. Good morning, Brant and Mark. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Good morning. We're happy to be here.
We're excited to speak with you today.
You know, Mark, I'm going to lead off with you for a moment. I have recently begun running, and I have sons that are competitive swimmers, but I have to ask you, are you crazy? What would compel someone to do an Ironman competition?
Well, they did just let me out of the asylum to do the interview with you today. Now, you know, a lot of people ask that question, and I'll be honest, when I first saw the Ironman on TV, before I started competing in the sport, I thought, these people have to be absolutely nuts. I mean, why would you want to swim 2.4 miles, bike 112, and run a marathon? But as this was back in 1982, and as I watched the athletes coming across the finish line, I thought, you know what? There's really something magic about that challenge. And a few weeks after that, I thought, I want to go to Hawaii and see if I can be one of those finishers across the finish line. No way in the world did I imagine at that moment that it would turn into a 15-year career, or that I would meet an amazing teacher like Brant Secunda along the way, or have a book called Fit Soul, Fit Body. So it's all been pretty magic.
Mark, how did you begin? What was your first sport of choice? Were you a runner, a bicyclist, or how did you get to the point of doing all 3 of them?
Well, I was a swimmer growing up, and I think that's actually more crazy than being a triathlete, because you go back and forth in this 25-yard pool for hours on end. But in 1982, like I said, I started into the sport of triathlon, and the first 6 years that I went to the Ironman, I was actually doing really well. I was very close to being the champion, but I couldn't cross the line in first place. But then, fortunately, in 1989, I made a connection with Brant and what he teaches in the Huichol Indian tradition from Mexico, and was able to turn that 7th race into the first of 6 victories. And it was just an amazing transformation for me, because I had all the numbers in the logbook that said you should be one of the best, if not the best, but there was something about my, I guess you'd say, inner character that was not ready for that championship. I had fear. I was worried that I couldn't win it. I was angry that I put in all the training and somebody else was coming up with the goods. And Brant helped me to change all that. And it was just so amazing to see what happens when you really do start to work on your inner strength and your inner character, what you can do with that.
So now, Brant, let's switch gears and focus a little bit on you. How did you arrive on your path of life? How did you become so insightful and acquire the knowledge and the wisdom to be a healer?
Well, that's a good question also. You know, I was from New York and New Jersey, and I graduated high school, and I left the day after my 18th birthday and began my journey, which took me to Mexico. And I traveled and had some experiences, and then I went to Mexico, and I wound up in the town of Ixtlan, which has now been made famous by one of those books by Carlos Castaneda called Journey to Ixtlan. So I had my own experience there in Ixtlan, and I met a young Huichol Indian school teacher who was there in Ixtlan, and he befriended me and told me he would write a letter which would serve as a passport to take me through the Huichol Sierra, because it's not permitted for outsiders to go up into the Sierra Madre where the Huichols live. It's private land. And so he said the only hitch was that it was a 5-day walk. And I thought, wow. But I grew up in New York, as I mentioned, in New Jersey. I thought, well, if I could survive riding the subways, I could survive a 5-day walk. And little did I know just how incredibly rough it was there in the Sierra Madre. And on the 3rd day of my journey, I became completely lost, was suffering from sun exposure. I was dehydrated. I probably had heat exhaustion at least. And I went unconscious, and the next thing I knew, these Indians were standing over me, sprinkling water onto my face, telling me that the old shaman of their village had had a dream about me 2 days earlier, and they had been sent out to rescue me and find me and bring me back to their village. And soon after then, I was taken to Don Jose Matsua, who lived to be 110. He was a perfect example of fit soul, fit body. And he adopted me as his grandson and put me through a 12-year shaman's apprenticeship. So that's how it is that I wound up doing what I'm doing.
And how did the two of you come together?
Well, I had the good luck to actually see an ad in a magazine for a workshop that Brant was going to be teaching with Don Jose in Mexico right before that race in 1989 that I was talking about. And in the middle of the race, at the toughest moment where I was neck and neck with my toughest competitor who had become a rival of mine, I was ready to give up because he was strong and I was feeling my energy weaken. And right at that moment, Don Jose's image came back to me. And as Brant said, he lived to be 110 years old. And in that ad that I saw in the magazine prior to the race, there was a picture of Brant and Don Jose. And they both had this amazing look on their face that was very peaceful but very powerful. And you know, it's something that you don't see on a lot of people's faces in the modern world. People have stress, or maybe they look worried about life, and Brant and Don Jose really looked like they had this amazing trust in life. And Don Jose's image came back to me, and it just seemed to fuel that trust inside of myself that even though this was a really hard race, it was nothing like I'd imagined, that somehow it was going to turn out all right. And indeed, my energy started to come back. And I went on to win the first of 6 victories. And then shortly after that, I met Brant down at that workshop in Mexico, and it was like the light switch had gone on, and I found something that I'd been searching for my whole life. And that's how I first met Brant, and I've studied with him for over 20 years now. It's just been an amazing journey.
Brant, what were some of the things that you worked on with Mark that he said that you made all the difference between winning and not being able to accomplish that goal? What were the first things that you worked on with him to tap into his inner spirit?
Well, I'm honored that he gives me all the credit, but, he had to run thousands of hours, ride the bike around, up mountains that I could barely walk up. But, basically, Mark had, he was training with all the best triathletes at the time. They all trained together. They did a lot together, but they were missing, one part, which I thought was, to develop a strong soul, which would make the body stronger. That's the way the Huichols view it in Mexico. So I worked with Mark on developing a fit soul, which would then ultimately lead to a stronger physical body. And that's how the Huichols do it. They say, for example, if you sit and listen to the sound of a river or the sound of the ocean, that sound will help take away, the chatter of the mind, let's say, help you quiet the mind, which is one of the keys in the book. And so when the mind is more quiet, when the mind is calmer, then you have a stronger physical body, which then you can race with or whatever it is you want to do in your life with. So I think that's how it was that one of the ways that I helped Mark was just to give him a lot of the different exercises that we use as a way to empower the soul, which ultimately then empowers the physical body.
Brant, is that keeping us in the present? Is that being mindful to work out of our conscious mind?
Definitely. It's just keeping us being aware, more awake, more alert of what is happening to us on an every level.
Guys, we're going to take a break for today's healthy living tip. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Dr. Mojdeh Hagverdi, board certified in anti-aging, functional, and internal medicine. Do you exhibit symptoms of an underactive thyroid such as fatigue, weight gain, muscle aches, elevated cholesterol, sensitivity to cold, or depression? But when you ask your doctor to run a thyroid test, the test comes back normal. Has your doctor told you that your symptoms have nothing to do with thyroid disease? In some patients, the standard thyroid test is not an accurate assessment. The thyroid hormone TSH is made by the pituitary gland. In internal medicine, as long as TSH is within 0.35 to 5.5, we consider thyroid function to be normal and we assure the patient that nothing is wrong. In anti-aging functional medicine, we feel TSH above 2 is a sign of an underactive thyroid. We not only evaluate T4 and T3, but also reverse T3. If antithyroid antibodies are elevated, it gives us a warning of a possible autoimmune attack. Are you on a thyroid medication like levothyroxine and still feel hypothyroid? There are many options available to treat and correct your hypothyroidism. With my knowledge of anti-aging functional medicine, I have been able to treat underactive thyroids with supplements and compounded thyroid medications. Isn't it time you listen to your body? Contact my office to schedule a complete evaluation. I'm conveniently located in Ramsey, New Jersey. Call 201-995-1601 to schedule your appointment.
Change your attitude, change your life, and big, believe, inspire, grow. Salute the entrepreneurial spirit of small business owners, people who follow a dream, work hard, and make it happen. This week's Spotlight on Rebuild Your Life Coaching is brought to you by VMM Benefits, a voluntary benefit specialist. Call VMM at 201-697-0203. Life is filled with ups and downs, and everyone everywhere has their own personal challenges to confront, overcome, and rise above. That's what Rebuild Your Life Coaching with Harriet Cabelli is all about. Personal Life Coaching with Harriet will support you in the face of adversity, help you figure out what steps you can take to improve your life, and encourage you to take immediate action so you can make the changes to change your life. Rebuild your life after crisis. Create stronger, more satisfying relationships. Cope with loss and grief. Understand what makes you happy so you can achieve your dreams and live your most satisfying life. If you're motivated to live the best life you can, Rebuild Your Life coach Harriet Cabelli can help get you back on track and begin to move forward. Rise above your personal life challenges. Call 516-214-4778 for more information or visit rebuildyourlifecoach.com.
Health insurance costs have risen at an alarming rate. At the same time, coverage choices have narrowed. Supplemental insurance provides an employer with the opportunity to enhance its current health plan without adding cost or administration. From accidents to catastrophic illness to intensive care to unexpected death, VMN Benefits has the plan to meet your needs. Call VMN Benefits at 201-697-0203 to learn more about supplemental insurance. VMN Benefits, providing peace of mind for your employees.
Are you looking for a cost-effective way to promote your product or service? Put the creative minds at Maximilian Communications to work for you. Maximilian Communications is a full-service multimedia communications company. From press releases to ad campaigns to publishing to audio-visual productions, Maximilian Communications does it all. Maximilian Communications provides small to medium-sized companies with a big marketing presence, often with just a shoestring budget. Let Maximilian Communications' team of creative experts put the pieces together for your business success. Public relations, advertising, marketing, publishing, audio-video production, special event coordination. Put the creative minds of Maximilian Communications to work for you. Call 973-641-6339. That's 973-641-6339.
Some people prefer traditional funeral services. Others prefer cremation. Some want an elaborate ceremony. Others don't want any ceremony at all. Visit Funeral Homes offer all types of services because we know there are all types of people. That's why we specialize in personalized funeral services. To meet the needs of each and every family, call Bishop Quinlan Funeral Homes of Clifton at 973-546-2000 and Bishop Parker Funeral Home of Little Falls at 973-256-4700 for ideas and information on how to plan a service as individual as you are.
Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life now has a free monthly digital magazine that can be read online or emailed to your inbox. Each month, nationally recognized leaders in their field provide the information that you need to inspire and motivate you. We believe in a holistic approach to life, incorporating mind, body, and spirit. As philosopher Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. Use the wisdom provided in the publication and apply it to your everyday life. Visit CYACYL.com for more information or to begin your free subscription. That's CYACYL.com. Welcome back to Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman, and our guests today are Brant Secunda and Mark Allen, co-authors of the book Fit Soul, Fit Body. In your book, you discussed 9 keys to have a healthier, happier you. And if we could, very briefly, I'd like to go through each of these. And the first one, you talk about balancing your response to stress. Brant, what do you mean by this?
Well, it means just finding a place of harmony, a place of peace, no matter what situation you are confronted with, which can produce stress, which weakens the body, of course. It activates chemicals in our brains and our bodies, which can weaken us. And so what we mean by that in the book is that it's important for us to deal with stress directly and not to let it detour us from whatever challenge that we might be confronted with.
Now, one of the other keys was quieting the mind, and Brant spoke about that a few minutes ago. The next one is transforming fear, anger, and jealousy. And Mark, I would assume as an athlete, that would be a very key point to be able to get rid of being fearful of your competition or jealous of them.
Absolutely. It was those were 3 of the emotions that were holding me back, indeed, before I met Brant, because, like I said, I was afraid that I just didn't have the goods to put it together on race day. I didn't have the inner strength. I didn't have the genetics. I was angry that I had put in so much training but was coming up short. And certainly I had a certain amount of jealousy that the other guys were winning. They were getting the great sponsorships, and I was kind of like the second fiddle. And so Brant helped me to release those emotions. And even though some of them might have still been there when I raced, they didn't hold me back. Like when you're on the start line of the Ironman, like any big challenge in life, you can still have that fear, but Brant would always tell me, be fearless in the face of your fears, meaning don't let those fears hold you back. Don't let, take that first step. Take that first stroke of the swim when the gun goes off and just see what happens. You never know. And it really just fortified my will and fortified that trust that I needed even in the tough moments of the race and the tough moments in life to keep going.
Brant, on the same topic, it just came to mind, we have so many listeners that are at some type of a transitional point in their lives, and it could be a divorce or a new job or whatever. What advice would you give to these people to eliminate that fear so they can move forward?
Well, first of all, we used to always, and we still talk about that we should not focus or pay attention to that too often. Of course, it'll be there, and you have to be aware of it, let's say, or you are aware of it. But do not pay attention to it too much, because when you indulge in that, that's when it can really get you. And so we tell people, go take a little walk. Go outside, move the body. Even if it's a little walk or exercise, all these things activate, as we know, chemicals in the body which produce a shift in our consciousness and make us more peaceful naturally.
And if I could add one thing on that, one of the big things that Brant always emphasizes is to develop your community, and that's so important. I have found when I'm struggling with something, if you get together with friends, you have a good laugh, it just takes away the impact that the negative emotions or negative thoughts can have. It really shifts changes the channel, as Brant says.
So we children are always joking around, laughing, and as Mark's saying, that just can make us feel so much better, just to have a good laugh. And that, you visit someone in a hospital, let's say, and you make them smile or laugh, and they feel better.
Well, and in tying with getting rid of fearfulness, one of your other keys is to know and set the quest, and that's where you actually know where it is you want to go. And why is that so important, Mark?
Well, if you have a clear vision, part of setting that quest is seeing where you want to end up, but also it's asking yourself, what is it that has importance about this endeavor that I'm going to be putting so much energy into? And then using that vision of importance to carry you through the tough moments. we all have tough moments. We all have Ironman challenges in our lives. But when we have a vision that says, this is why this endeavor has importance to me, it can help us to stand back up when we feel like we've just fallen down.
Brant, one of the other keys that I think is interesting is to live what you ask for. What do you mean by this one?
That if you ask for something, you should follow through on it, not to just ask for something and then not to accept the challenges that might come with it, or to, not really go 100% after what you've asked for. So that's what we mean. If you want to ask for something, it's not like Mark always says, not setting out a 5-year business plan, but it's to ask for something from the universe or from your environment, and to follow through, not to quit.
Now, we've just touched upon some of the different keys, but if you want to get more information about them in detail, the book is Fit Soul, Fit Body, 9 Keys to a Healthier, Happier You. Before we run out of time, can you just give us some information about 5 ways to keep yourself and your soul fit for a lifetime?
Well, one way is to indeed take care of your physical body by exercising. The second would be to feed your body good food. Have the food that you eat be medicine for your soul. Another thing would be indeed to feed yourself good thoughts daily. I am a good person. I love myself with all of my faults and all of my great qualities. And another key that Brant always emphasized for me was to really connect with that world of nature. When we go outside, all of the troubles that we have often just take on less importance or have less negative impact. And Brant might have one more great one for that 5th one.
Well, just to develop a connection to the spiritual world of nature, even to just go outside, feel the earth underneath your feet, the sun above you, the sky above you. Just these simple realities can completely transform your life and empower your soul, which therefore gives you a stronger body as well.
And Brant, you say that it's important to slow down to get faster, and that seems like a contradiction. So can you explain that? What do you mean by that?
Well, Mark, he's better at explaining that because we talk about that in the book.
Yeah, on a physical level, that means your workouts, your exercise don't have to be this super intense, painful experience. That actually is the only way that people used to do that in ancient times is when they were trying to get away from a saber-toothed tiger. And that's high stress on the body. So we really emphasize to people, keep your exercise at a moderate level where you enjoy it, where when you're done you feel better instead of completely trashed.
And the Huichols, they walk great distances. And, they do it slowly, methodically, but they can go forever because they're not going full blast for 1 minute and then running out of steam. So that's also what we mean by that.
And it's a good mantra for the modern world. Slow down to get faster. Everything is at the speed of Twitter now, and we really just say, take it a little easier, take it a little slower, and then in the end we have that ability to sustain our efforts year after year after year to create positive change and transformation in our lives.
And that's why so many people that go on these crash diets or they take up these ridiculously challenging physical exercise routines and they don't stick with them. They do them for a little bit of time and then they're on to something else and they gain the weight back or it doesn't work, right?
Yeah, it's called burnout.
Yeah. Now, listen, guys, each of you, what do you hope that people take away from this book? Let's start with you, Brant.
Well, we really put together the book so it will help transform people's lives in a positive way because there's so much despair and so much energy in our country, especially where people don't have hope or they don't have vision for their own future. And we feel that our book is for everyone. Anyone can read this book and be empowered, have a strong soul, and therefore a fit body. And so that's what I hope to give people. It also help them to open their hearts and to feel connected to their environment, to nature, to their friends, family, community. And in this way, it'll transform people in a positive way.
How about you, Mark?
And I would say that all of our keys are so simple to use. People can read the book and use those keys right in this moment, right in their life today. Change doesn't have to be a complicated process. It's something that's very simple. Changing the health of your body or your internal character or your strength is so simple, but you have to take those steps. And if we develop that patience and really relish in just the day-to-day steps that we can take to change ourselves, over time we can become Ironman champions. We can become very attuned to life in a spiritual way.
The book is Fit Soul, Fit Body, 9 Keys to a Healthier, Happier You, written by Brent Secunda and Mark Allen. Guys, where can our listeners go to get more information about your work?
Great. They can go to fitsoulfitbody.com. On there we have the 9 keys listed. People can get a little more of a taste of what those are. There's also a fitness quiz that gives you a perspective check on life and where you're really at. And then also any upcoming seminars that we're teaching are listed on the homepage, fitsoulfitbody.com.
As always, you can visit our website, which is cyacyl.com. While on our site, listen to past shows as podcasts, read the digital magazine, and sign up for our mailing list. Today, our guests were Brent Secunda and Mark Allen. Guys, it was wonderful having you here. I think that this book is very important because, as you said, in today's society, people are going through so much despair, so much transition, and that's what we're about here. We're trying to give people the tools that they need to make these changes in their lives, and I think your book is a great start. So thank you so much for being here.
Great, thank you.
This is Change Your Attitude, Change Your Life. I'm Joan Herman. Thanks for tuning in.